What up, everybody? This is Jack Slater, aka the Comic Outlaw, and I'm back. I am back. And I hope you're enjoying Zaffa because I'm enjoying my time off. I'm back, and we're doing Excalibur issue 1. And if you're ready for some freaky deaky stuff, you better strap on your safety belts because we're in for one hell of a ride. You gotta love Excalibur. A lot of interesting stuff happens, but let's get into it, huh? Werewolves of Canaan. And yeah, there's this creepy looking guy. Basically, you're gonna find out exactly what he looks like. Twiddle Dum. He looks like a messed up version of Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And yeah, it looks like he's putting beans or some kind of substance in a bowl. And then this guy decides that the radio station didn't like what he was playing, or whatever the case may be, and he decides to shove it in there too, and it ends up being a head. Literally a head. And as he throws it there, looking at a wanted poster, realizing that he's part of the gang, I guess he decides to go back. Meanwhile, in jolly old London, they're getting Captain Britain up to speed. He's going to have a few members of X-Men that crossed over overseas to join his team: Shadowcat, Phoenix, and Nightcrawler. This is during the fall of mutants. Basically, a lot of people died, and yeah, so they decided to go here. And yeah, this cop gets jumped by this weird silver looking thing. Apparently he's a wolf of some kind. Not a wolf that I've ever seen. He literally sucks all the juice out of this guy and wears his skin, so in a very freaky way. Meanwhile, these two come across a robbery, and there's a psychic backlash from stealing that guy's skin and taking it over, and it knocks Phoenix out. They're able to bring her out, and there's a nice rendering of her body. You gotta love the art here. Shadowcat decides to dress up for some reason in a bathrobe and a towel over her face just to stop the robbery. I mean, she's Shadowcat. She's pretty well known. Meanwhile, Captain Britain rushes in. Of course, Captain Britain rushes in. Phoenix does her thing, and yeah, you gotta love Rachel. She's very heavy-handed, and she knows how to lay down the law. And her power is a little different from Jean. She kind of uses the wings as, well, claws. And there's Britain. Yes, he's having himself a little fun with his lady love, businesswoman, and her name's Courtney Ross. And they have a little smoochy. They talk a little business. Meanwhile, this creature is just taking over different people. And it's not just one either. It's another one. Will there be another one? Who knows? Wolves do run in packs. Of course, Rachel is having problems from the psychic backlash. She looks like she's had a little too much to drink. And Kitty is reminiscing. Like I said, there was an incident with the Marauders. It turned into a big war. It killed a lot of people. Severely injured a bunch. I talk about that in Fantastic Four versus X-Men. And Captain Britain's, of course, wondering what Shadowcat's doing, you know, trying to get her acquainted to everything, you know, him and everyone else. And as quote-unquote Mr. Dashing heads up the stairs, she finishes a modulator, a little device. And you gotta love Kitty. She always has a gizmo for every situation. Meanwhile, Nightcrawler and Megan are kind of spending some time painting the town red, looking at their new base. She goes over to the bed, says it's cluttered. Of course, Nightcrawler doesn't mind because, well, Megan, bed, happiness. And yeah, he walks into a closet, and all of a sudden there's all these villains. Now that is just weird. Of course, he panics. He teleports away for dear life. Of course, he grabs Megan. You gotta love how he pushes her to the front. Look, there's monsters. She opens it. It's an empty closet. Nightcrawler is wondering what's going on. Meanwhile, Rachel's getting acquainted with everybody. And this guy is basically getting a little handsy as Kurt and Megan are explaining, you know, just giving her a little overhaul of everything. And yeah, this is one thing you don't do with Rachel. You do not invade her personal space. Meanwhile, you know, like I said, Britain having a little fun. And yes, this is a typo, but this is basically what Britain is doing. I mean, one page was enough. I mean, come on. We did not need to know that Captain Britain was having a little smoochy, in my opinion. Anyways, Rachel leaves her costume. Kitty kind of builds a device that copies it, and she gets dressed up like her. Because apparently these creatures want her, and why not dress up like her to attract these evil creatures? Meanwhile, Kurt, getting out of the shower, about to have a cup of joe, cup of coffee, American, German, you know, don't want that tea thing. And all of a sudden, Kurt just kind of appears. He says the bathroom's clogged and, you know, wouldn't flush, so he couldn't make it out there. So Phoenix actually contacts Shadowcat and basically wondering where she is, what she's doing, and why she's wearing her outfit. And that is to be revealed because these creatures who wear skin, human skin, jump out of nowhere. She uses her device to mimic the Phoenix powers, and you gotta admire her ability. I guess she was absorbing energy from her costume. She tries to use the powers, but ends up hitting the pipe, and which is never a good thing in a sewer. You never know what's gonna land on you, so I advise not to do that. These creatures capture her. Basically, they turn into goo. They grab onto her, thinking maybe it's Rachel, but then again, it's not. These creatures grab her, end up taking her, and will Excalibur save them in time, and will Captain Britain be able to have his tea, a spot? We'll find out the next time, and I'll catch you on the